disrespected back there.
Okay. Tony. How you doing?
What?
Nothing. All right.
Okay.
They meant when they said like anybody that helps out during the year, they mean like that serves on a committee or something like that. So they weren't disrespected, like it wasn't like everybody was invited but you, Tony. That's what they wanted to make sure you understood.
That's all right. I mean, I kind of think I'm going to have you on my list next year, Tony, make sure that you're invited, okay?
We'll feel it.
Okay, well, thank you.
All right. Any questions for Bob? If not, I'll entertain. Oh, I'm sorry.
Definitely have a question. Oh,
No, she was just standing
Standing
up. I didn't think she raised her hand.
Yeah.
Okay, with that, I'll entertain a motion for approval for the Park and Rec report.
so moved.
Go ahead. Done. I'll second.
Okay, motion's been made and second. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, thank you. Okay, moving on next, Conservation Committee, Mr. Lippincott.
They meet tomorrow night, 7 PM here at the Township Building, and I do have one item in executive session.
Okay, very good. All right, moving forward, commission reports. Police report, Chief Blake, you're up.
He's back.
Good evening, folks.
Give me Ron.
How are you? How are
How you doing, Chief? It's good to see you.
This is the September Penrose Regional Police Department report. It records the activity for the Penrose Regional Police Department for the month of August 2017. The department had 393 calls for service, 160 of those were in East Rockhill, and 233 were in West Rockhill. The department handled 34 crashes. There were 15 crashes in East Rockhill, 19 in West Rockhill. 16 were reportable crashes, 18 were non-reportable crashes. The department also responded to 21 Part 1 crimes and 22 Part 2 crimes in August, totaling 44 crimes. That's a high number for Part 1 crimes. Part 1 crimes are also known as index crimes, which are the violent crimes, homicide, sexual assault, robbery, aggravated assault, burglary, theft, auto theft, and arson. And in West Rockhill, the crimes are as follows. It was aggravated assault, motor vehicle theft, 3 cases of thefts of $200 and over. That's how the UCR, Uniform Crime Reports, they classify thefts in different categories. Retail, under 50, 50 to 200, and 200 and over. That's why you see that's categorized like that. $50 to $200 theft case, 5 of those. 5 trespass cases, 2 criminal mischief cases, 1 harassment by communication, 1 dog law violation, 1 DUI, 1 weapons sale firearms violation, 1 ordinance violation. And in East Rockhill, 4 cases of thefts of $200 and over, 3 retail theft cases, 3 cases of theft between 50 and 200, 1 theft case of under $50, a fraud case, 2 criminal mischiefs, 1 unauthorized use of auto, 1 sex offense against a minor, 1 DUI, 1 terroristic threat, 2 harassment by communication, and 2 ordinance violations. The arrests for August, 1 aggravated assault DUI related, 1 resisting arrest / disorderly conduct / criminal mischief to a police vehicle. 2 cases where theft was charged with receiving stolen property and false identification of law enforcement. We had 2 felony retail thefts, meaning that I think these retail thefts, it was the offender's 3rd offense. Sometimes thefts are classified according to the amount, so anything over $2,000 would be a felony theft, but in this specific retail theft cases, it was their 3rd or subsequent offense. And then 4 misdemeanor retail theft cases, 2 DUIs, 1 criminal trespass, 3 possession of drug paraphernalia, 1 possession of marijuana, 1 township ordinance violation, and 1 trespass violation. Officers conducted 29 traffic enforcement details, 16 of those on Old Bethlehem Pike, issuing 12 verbal traffic warnings, 31 citations, and 37 written warnings. Officers also conducted 339 business checks. Just a note of interest here on 8/18/17 at 2:52 hours, or 2:52 p.m. Penrose Regional Police investigated a fatal crash in West Rockhill Township on Allentown Road, just south of Shoecraft Road. Wasn't a fatal crash on scene, however, the driver of the 1 vehicle died of his injuries several days later, so it's still in the parameters that PennDOT lists as a fatal traffic crash. There was a meeting with the district attorney, Bucks County Training Center, to go over some issues there. And Penn Regional Police Department used our headquarters for a site for training for autistic support unit from the Bucks County Intermediate Unit. And that's it. I'd like to have everybody know that on our Twitter and Facebook accounts, you can donate to victims of Hurricane Harvey in Texas through the National Tactical Officers Association. And that goes directly to law enforcement down there.
Thank you very much. Any questions for the chief?
No.
What happened over the last month and a half, 2 months ago? Is that similar from a year ago, or what is this special keep of,
Excuse me, could you state your name and address, please?
Paul Elm,
Paul?
2028 Ridge Road,
Okay,
Somerville?
thank you.
You mean the high part one
All the
crimes?
statistics that you have there, are they similar to the other years?
I would think that those part one crime, I didn't look at last August, but that many part one crimes is pretty high for this area. And that's contributed to all those thefts and retail thefts.
Part 1 crimes are what?
Part one crimes, the FBI classifies crimes in 2 different categories, part 1 and part 2. Part 1 being serious crimes, but they also lump theft into that because it's a crime against the person. So they lump that into that. So we've had quite a few retail thefts and thefts from vehicles. So when you have those, it'll increase your part 1 crime ratio. So yeah, it's how they classify crimes.
I was just wondering if an increase or a decrease, or?
That's an increase in part 1 crimes, that would be. But I didn't look back of last August to see how it correlates, but, you know, in the back of my mind, giving these monthly reports and seeing the stats, 21 part 1 crimes is pretty high. Part 2 crimes should always be higher. But you like to see 0 crimes. I'd like to see that.
About mileage crime.
Yeah, or that, yeah.
Do you have the date that Penridge High School is entertaining the opioid crisis meeting
That is next Wednesday
next Wednesday?
at our commission meeting. Sergeant Maloney will be there from the Penn Regional Police Department.
7 o'clock, 7
7
o'clock
o'clock.
to 9 o'clock at the high school.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions for the chief? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Okay, motion's been made, seconded by Don. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, ayes have it. Thank you, chief. Have a
Thanks,
great
Fred.
night, be safe.
Keep up the good work.
See you later.
Okay, moving along. Next on the agenda is the Joint Recreation Commission. Mr. Miller.
I do not have the financial information tonight. There was a turnover of personnel at the Sellersville Borough Hall.
Okay.
And the new lady is coming up to speed, so I hope to have that by the end of the week.
All right.
And I will turn it in and Judy can
Forward.
post it.
Okay.
Pool's closed for the summer, for the winter. We had our doggy dip on the day after the pool closed, which is the day after Labor Day. A huge storm came in, and just as we were getting ready to start, people decided to let their dogs swim anyhow, so I think we had about 6 dogs there, and that was about it. But we did not charge them the $5 to get in. However, some people left the money as a donation because they really wanted to help the pool. So I think that's about it. The pool is drained. It's been winterized. Suzanne had a work crew last weekend, and I know that they got a lot of work done just getting everything ready for winter. So I think that's it for tonight.
Okay, good. Any questions, Don?
None.
Okay.
Move for approval.
Okay, motion's been made for approval. I'll second it. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you, Mr. Miller. Okay, next on the agenda, tax collectors report. Suzanne Clark, good
Okay.
evening.
For the month of September, we collected $2,596.66 in annual taxes for West Rockhill Township. Not collected any interim taxes, bills haven't been satisfied yet, so it's a slow month. So that's it.
Okay, any questions for Suzanne?
No.
Do you have any questions, Tom,
No.
for Suzanne? Okay, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I'll make a motion.
Motion's been made, I'll second it. All those signify by saying aye?
Aye.
Aye, ayes have it, thanks. Moving forward, next on the agenda is the engineer's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mhm.
The first item on my agenda was the Price Sewage Facilities Planning Module. I'm sure if there's anyone here tonight. Oh, Tori is here tonight from the consultant.
What's the name of it again, please?
It's the Price Properties, it's a
Price.
sewage planning module.
Okay.
For two properties, 2044 and 2028 Old Bethel Pike. And maybe, Tori, you could just give a brief description of what you're proposing?
Sure. Representing Mr. Price, he owns two properties on Old Bethlehem Pike. The existing septic systems are malfunctioning, and so we're proposing a small flow treatment facility with stream discharge to remedy the issue there.
Into what stream?
Three more
It's
on
going to discharge to a roadside ditch and then out to
3 Mile Road.
Yeah, it's a tributary to Three Mile Road.
Okay. And the address again, could you please state that for me?
It's 2024 and 2028 Old Bethlehem.
So there are two adjoining properties, but they'll each have their own
Yes.
new system. Correct. And they're both owned by Mr. Price.
Okay,
And the place where the creek crosses the road where that goes to is just right on the next property down.
I understand.
So it's not running hundreds of feet down the road.
It's up this side though of the 3 Mile Run, would be up?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it would be just north of
just north.
that, yep. So they submitted all the proper paperwork. We asked them for a little bit additional information. They provided. What you have before you tonight is a resolution, I think was in your packet. There's two separate resolutions, but they're the same thing. One for each property, 2024 and 2028. That would require action by the board tonight. And I think, Mary, you had sent out an amended.
We have
operation
sewage
and
maintenance agreements that have come back signed, and Greg has possession of them right now. He's gonna sign them after the board approves this planning module.
So we have all the other paperwork that we need. This
Steve?
ultimately goes to DEP and they have the final.
Yeah, understand. Don has a question.
There's a potential issue down the road in the future where this effluent flows over other properties.
It flows within the road right-of-way, and DEP has permitted that in the past,
Mhm.
and they'll weigh in on it if they believe there's a problem.
Would it be
We
appro-
have a few others like that. We approved one a year or two ago on Thousand Acre Road, as a
Mhm.
matter of fact.
Yep.
Would it be appropriate to get something in writing from PennDOT?
It's our road.
Beg
It's
pardon?
Old Bethel
It's our
Pike.
road,
It's
it's
our
all
road.
Bethlehem. It's our road, township.
Okay, so
Why would
just a
you-
concern. Flowing
No,
across
I
somebody
know, I
else's
mean, PennDOT
property.
wouldn't be involved.
Yeah, they wouldn't be involved in this.
Well, whoever needs to be involved. If it's us, we need to do
It's us,
something.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So you
that's,
need
I think Mary would say we're covered under the maintenance agreement that they're responsible for anything that would happen.
That's right. And just because we have a larger crowd than usual tonight, it might be worth explaining that what's gonna be in the roadside dishes is treated, it's not untreated.
True. It's a full, it's a fully functioning treatment plant. It's not just a sand mound or a holding tank and then discharges. It's a full treatment plant with, I believe, infrared or
Heat filter and UV light.
a UV light for, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it doesn't run continuously. The plant operates and then it batches at certain times once it fills out X amount of gallons at one time, and then it may not run again for however much time or a day until it fills up again that needs to run. So it's not a continuously trickle of water.
I've never seen an issue with the one on 1,000 Acre. That has to be inspected, what, once a year? Is that what it is?
Our operation and maintenance agreement calls for an annual inspection.
Annual inspection, okay, that's what I thought, so.
And it'll get I'll say periodic inspection from the health department.
Yeah.
Because
They check them.
they check them, but when they get to them, they have a lot of them in the county.
Right. Okay, so you're looking for us to make a motion to move forward?
To adopt the resolution number 2000, well, we'll go with 2017-13 for 2024 Old Bethel Pike. And
So moved.
and resolution 2017-14 for 2028 Old Bethel Pike.
Okay, we have a motion made by Don. I'll second it. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, ayes have it.
Thank you. We'll prepare that paperwork, we'll get you copies of everything when we send it to the, thank you. Let me just write this. Okay, then second, we have the Holzerman lot line adjustment subdivision plan. Is there anyone here tonight? I didn't recognize you from the last meeting, I'm sorry. Could you just introduce yourself and
Jerry Holzerman.
just give a summary of what you're proposing for the board?
We have proposed to purchase
Stand up. So everybody can hear you.
our, my father and I live next door to each other. Our lots were purchased in 1950 by my grandfather. After that, he purchased 2 more lots next to him, which went back further than the original 2. The 68 acres behind us, our 2 lots are
Yep.
in the,
That doesn't show.
Got
Yeah,
road-
the
rotated.
L shape in the top left, the big L, was my
Yep.
father's property. The one right next to it is mine. Catch Basin Road is on the bottom. There's 68 acres behind us. The owner approached us to see if we wanted to buy any land after he bought it 3 or 4 years ago. So to square our properties off and get rid of that L shape, we're buying 2 little pieces of woodland.
Okay.
We're basically just moving our property line back 189 feet,
You're doing a lot line adjustment.
lot line adjustment. Plans were redrawn, corrections were made, and the engineer came back just on Friday with the last 4 things, actually the first 2. I guess you guys must have a copy of this. They have a copy.
Steve, you have that, right?
The review letter?
Yeah. I have a couple copies of that.
Oh, thanks.
I have my letter. Too many good guys.
This letter?
Yeah.
I guess they'd ask you now, do you agree to everything on the letter?
Yeah,
Usually,
yeah,
They're minor items.
the first 2 items were just them saying that they approve, because it's Catch Basin Road, we don't have to build sidewalks on
Well, that's ultimately for the board to say, but you agree that you'll make the minor revisions to the legal descriptions or your
Yeah, that's being
survey.
done now. In fact,
Okay.
the surveyor, I contacted him on Monday. He was gonna try, well, Monday night. He was gonna try to get me yesterday.
That's fine.
He hasn't gotten it yet. The monuments were put in a month ago.
Okay, I just need a letter from him.
Right,
saying
he's
that
gonna
it's
get
okay.
a letter of certification.
Yeah.
He called it.
Yeah, so they're minor paperwork items. This will just show you the overall property. You can see how large the pieces next door that they're taking. And that's the overall size. So they're just transferring these little pieces in the back.
Oh.
The rest of it stays.
Okay.
Stays a big part. That gives you an idea of the overall.
Yeah. All right.
So it's those 4 minor items on the letter. I don't have any other concerns with
Okay.
the project.
And he agrees to them?
Right, and we did list, as a formality, there is road improvements required with any subdivision. You've had the policy that where there's no new lots being created, when you waive the road improvements, there's no contribution required,
Right.
with no new lots being created. That's
And
the
there's no new
circumstance.
lots being created here?
Right. They start out with 3, we end up with 3.
Okay. Any questions for Steve?
I have none.
I have none.
Yes, Mary.
so are you directing me to prepare a resolution?
That's what we were getting towards.
We're about to do.
Okay, then I'll.
Can I entertain a motion to direct marriage?
So moved.
Okay, motion's been made by
Second.
Don, seconded by Jim. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it. She will prepare a resolution.
So, just so you understand, Mary prepares the resolution, which just formalizes those last couple conditions. They'll send you a copy, you agree with it, the next month they'll approve it formally, and you'll be done with this.
And one of your conditions of approval is to get a deed of consolidation.
Right.
So you need to hire an attorney to prepare
Yeah,
that.
Grim's doing that for us in Percy.
Well, that's my firm, so you should probably pick another one.
They said there was no conflict of interest.
So you talked to Colby?
I'm not sure who.
All right, let me-
Dexter did his last deed of consolidation, where he deeded all
let-
his 3 lots together.
Let me talk to him and we'll straighten it out.
Okay.
Okay, well,
It's being offered to them.
Okay,
Okay, so yeah, if you get me that, the
Yeah,
final
so
information from the
yeah.
surveyor, then
Yeah.
we'll take care of it.
He'll get back to me today, hopefully tomorrow.
And whenever he has it, that's fine. Okay, and in your packet is the plan review status memo. There are no projects requiring action other than what we've already done tonight. And there's also a list of 2 authorization vouchers.
Move for approval.
let's hear what they are. What was the name of them?
I'm sorry, there's one for Rockhill Contractors,
Kill and A&T.
who's nearly done. They haven't built the building, but their improvements are essentially
Yeah.
completed.
Yeah.
And
That's
A&T
good.
Super.
Okay, so Don's made the motion for
I'll
approval.
second.
Second has been made by Jim. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
You got it.
That's all I have unless there's any questions.
Steve, what are they gonna do with the A&T? What are they gonna do with that embankment? Remember, right now it's all dirt.
Well, it's not, well, I'm making them reseed it, but they didn't rip out the roots. They just cut it down low, but they cut it too low, so it's, doesn't look like there's anything on it. I'm having them overseed it
Okay,
anyway to make sure we get that growth before the other vegetation comes back. I shouldn't say this, but that's mostly in Hilltown Township, so it's not.
not in West
Remember,
Rockhill.
the property line divides that property on an angle.
Right.
The whole front of the site is in Hilltown Township. The building is in West Rockhill Township.
Just so you know, you're on camera.
We represent Hilltown, so we're on the hook either way.
Okay, thanks for that explanation. Any other concerns, Don?
Nope.
Nope, okay. So I'll entertain a motion for approval of the engineer's report as presented.
So moved.
Motion's been made.
Second.
Seconded by Don. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
ayes have it. Thank you. Thanks, Steve.
You're welcome.
Moving on next, solicitor's report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I have a number of items under the solicitor's report.
Okay.
The first is development agreements for the Moyer project. You gave approval to a small subdivision on Cedar Hollow Road a number of years ago, and it kind of sat,
Yeah,
I guess because of the
Right.
economy, but now they're ready to go, and they've executed development agreements and sent them, and they need your signature so that they can move ahead. I guess you might have already signed the plans, but I would be looking for a motion to approve the development agreements.
okay.
Have they met all the criteria from the original agreement?
Well, they've met all the criteria that they need to do development agreements. I can't speak to whether all the plan requirements have been completed. That Steve would know that better than I.
Yes, that's why we had the
Yeah,
plans.
didn't we sign the plans already?
You did sign the
Yeah,
plans.
we
We're
signed.
holding them. They haven't been
Okay.
recorded. We're waiting for the agreement.
All right, so we need a motion? to-
Make a motion.
Okay, motion's been made to sign these.
Second.
Second by Don. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And there's 3 copies that I'll be sending down.
And that's for the Moyer Cedar Hollow.
Right. And then the second item on the solicitor's report is last month you reviewed a subdivision plan submitted by Mr. Frankenfield on behalf of his parents or his parents' estate, and you authorized me to prepare a resolution. That resolution has been prepared. It has been reviewed by Mr. Frankenfield and his engineer, and they have indicated that the conditions set forth in the resolution are satisfactory. So if you would like to adopt the resolution, it would be 2017-15.
So move for adoption.
Okay, we have a motion made for adoption of the
I'll second.
Frankenfield subdivision. And it's
Second.
been seconded by Jim. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, ayes have it, thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
And then, the next item is an agreement to allow the Penridge Little League to park on the Hayfler Lot Field. This is something you talked about several months ago. And, I prepared an agreement, and Greg's taken a look at it. It's in your packets, but it would be appropriate if you wanted to discuss it tonight. It's ready for your signature, but, you know, I don't know if you wanted, if there was any comments or concerns you'd like to make.
All the-
Just,
All the outstanding issues with the Penridge Little League have been resolved.
I was informed of that.
Is there any, would it be inappropriate to have a reserve set up? So if there is a problem, it's taken care of, instead of waiting till something happens and,
Well, if there's any damage done, they have to fix it or they're not allowed to use it.
That's part of the agreement, yeah.
the Little League will be responsible for mowing the grass in the parking area. The Little League shall repair any damage to any portions of the Hayfler track which are not in the parking area. In the event damage to the Hayfler track outside the parking area is not repaired and grass established within 7 days of the occurrence of the damage, the township may perform the repairs and send an invoice to the Little League. Then there's a similar paragraph for damage within the parking area.
Okay.
But that paragraph's a little bit different because they're directed not to use park on the grass in the event of moist or soggy conditions.
Right. Okay.
so by not having an escrow, that we have to spend time and labor following through and getting it done, but
Well, that's up to you guys.
I'm making a motion that we approve this agreement and move forward.
I'll second the motion. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I'll talk to you later. I'm fine.
Thank you for what you do for the community.
The-
motion?
Yeah,
for
I'm gonna-
this?
I made the motion, Jim seconded, all those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye,
I'm sending down 4 copies of that.
okay.
Then I also have on the solicitor's report, you announced to the public probably 6 months ago that you had reached a successful conclusion to negotiations with Sellersville to buy the property they own on Catch Basin Road. The township has been working on its due diligence. It needs a little bit more time. There was a lot of problems with the deeds to the property. Sellersville's owned it so long that the chain of title was very foggy, and it was hard to put the deeds and the legal descriptions together to come out right. But Steve thinks he has that resolved now. So we've asked for an extension of time from Sellersville Borough until November 30th to go to settlement. We're supposed to go to settlement at the end of this month. And Sellersville has agreed, and they signed it at their meeting on, I think it was Monday night or last Monday night. And so if you don't mind, I'm looking for approval to execute an addendum to the agreement of sale, which would extend the settlement date till November 30th, 2017.
So moved.
Is that gonna give you enough time, Steve, with the
Yes,
with the leaves coming off the trees?
We expect to
be
have
able
the
to-
survey finished up by the end of October.
Okay.
And that gives us another 30 days to get all the.
All right, so Don has a motion on the floor to move forward.
I second.
You second it, all those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, let's have it, we'll move forward on that.
Thank you. There's 4 there, even though there's a lot of paper clips.
That's your son?
And that's all I have under the solicitor's report, unless you have questions for me.
Who signs that?
You did.
And that would be Jay.
Me,
Yeah,
okay.
the chairman.
Sorry.
Oh. Well, while we have a lull here, I just want to make sure that you get to your constituents in the Little League and make sure they stop parking on the grass. We still have some issues from time to time. I don't care if somebody drives on there to drop off stuff and leaves, but when they leave their car, you get this whole new parking lot now and getting ruts and stuff like that. Just make sure they're aware of that.
Yeah, the other thing, regarding that too, no parking on the walking trail,
Yeah.
which you already know. You're the guy that has to enforce that, you know. Okay, moving forward on solicitor's report, you have anything else? Mary, are you good?
I have nothing else unless you have questions for me.
I have no questions for you. I will entertain a motion for approval on the solicitor's report as presented.
Make a motion.
Motion's been made by Jim,
Second.
second by Don. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Okay, moving forward, next on the agenda is the township manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first thing is the emergency services report for August 2017. Sudlersville had 34 calls, 14 of which were in West Rockhill Township. Sudlersville Route 309 had 2 calls, 1 of which was in West Rockhill Township. Telford had 25 calls, 3 of which were in West Rockhill Township. Telford Route 309 had 1 call, none were in West Rockhill Township. Colorsport had 19 calls, 3 of which were in West Rockhill Township. And Trumbullsville had 47 calls, 3 of which were in West Rockhill Township.
Any questions for Greg on that?
No.
Okay,
None.
moving forward.
All right, the next item is the building and zoning report for August 17th. We received $3,511.99, bringing the grand total to $70,202.34. We're very close to meeting the budget.
That's good news, really, right?
And you have a long list of permits that were issued.
Oh, great. That's encouraging. All right. Any questions for Greg on that? Okay.
Next item is the treasurer's report and payment of the bills. I'll go over the treasurer's report ending August 31st, 2017. The general fund, $646,651.38. Highway A, $258,582.22. Open space, $1,761,621.95. The park fund, $14,695.59. The equipment fund, $18,687.16. Highway capital, $124.39. Streetlight, $33,936.19. In the reserve funds, the general fund reserve, $303,172.44. Open space Manderfield, $50,654.88. The sewage maintenance fund, $165,413.08. Stormwater fund, $7,064.31. The escrow funds, $172,438.13. And the open space first time fund, scroll too far. $24,206.42.
Okay. Any questions for Greg on that?
Finding order proposed for approval, all subject to audit.
Payment of bills subject to audit? Okay.
Second.
Motion's been made and second. All those signify by saying aye.
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 Ayes have it.
All right. The next item is the Public Works report from August 21st to September 8th. Armode Gold Mine, Lonely Branch, Green Top, Catch Basin, Climber, Quarry, Lonely Road, Jesmont, Meeting House, Mountain View, Old Mill, Old Bethlehem Pike, the short section. Paved portions of Gold Mine Road, prep Gold Mine for the oil and chip, which is now done. Hot patch, Shoecraft, and Camp Rock Hill. Weed whack the guardrails on Lonely, Simmons, Branch, East Old State. Cut back trees and heavy brush along Lenape and Clymer at the bridge. Turned on the school lights. Placed 25-mile-per-hour signs on West Clymer Avenue, Gold Mine, Simmons, and Parn. And did the monthly inspections across the
I do want to thank you for addressing some of the issues that I had raised here last week regarding Barnt Road, Simmons Road, and Gold Mine. You were commended for taking quick action before they got the oil and chip done. So I want to thank you, okay?
Speaking of oil and chip, for all the people here from Thousand Acre Road, could you tell us when the excess stone will be swept up?
most likely mid next week, Wednesday or Thursday. They'll go back over Simmons and Gold Mine and whatnot. But
They usually wait for it to work its way in.
I understand, but,
Yeah, we had this issue on Avenue for like weeks. I mean, it was,
at least everybody's driving
You-
slow.
Yes.
That's good.
They sweep the stone off their streets. Just saying.
did you say leave it on there?
They're also leaving there.
God,
We were doing like 15 miles an hour.
Bicycle people off the road.
Yeah, right.
Ooh,
Maybe
that
just move it to the
isn't
middle?
That's attractive.
Okay,
weather permitting, you know,
Yeah.
they always do.
don't rush it on Thousand Acre Road,
All right,
okay?
we won't.
Next year would be fine.
All right, the next item, there are 2 letters in your packet. The first one is a letter going to Representative Craig Stats, strongly opposing the wireless distribution antenna system, DAS, which is House Bill 1620. This is something that the board has been very vocal in opposition about when they start placing those towers in the right of way.
Yeah.
It's happened in New Hampton, it happened in Perkins.
For those who don't know, if you've ever driven out Ridge Road, right before the airport, there is a pole that is like extra large with an antenna. That's what we're talking about. They're popping it up and they're using them as satellite, or basically
As many cellular towers.
many cell towers. So,
And they can put them anywhere, right?
right, anywhere.
Well,
They're not going to. but-
well, no, we have an ordinance that says they can't. The whole battle's about
Okay.
whether or not they have to abide by local ordinances, and this would take control away from the township and put it in the hands of the,
Right.
Yeah, House Bill 1620 would take it away from the townships and into the state.
Is there any opposition from the board? I haven't heard from Greg regarding, you want to move forward with this, right?
With this, absolutely.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay, just
Yeah.
making sure.
Yeah, that was.
This is a request by Bacado.
Yes, Picado had requested this as well. I saw that in our email.
We've already done that.
Regarding that.
Excuse me, go ahead.
Michelle Shepherd, Thousand Acre Road.
Yeah.
Will there be any other poles that will be placed so close to Ridge Road as the one that's there now? That's so dangerous.
It is dangerous, and I brought that concern up when it was first placed there. And they told me originally it was a police antenna, and it ended up not being, it was not a police antenna. We don't know, but we're looking into that. We're trying to make sure that they don't put them in so close
right
to the
now,
road.
the township, when they started coming up in Northampton and in Percy, the township adopted an ordinance that doesn't allow them that close to the road, and it doesn't allow them in residential neighborhoods. And that's what this legislation would invalidate, those ordinances. So hopefully the answer is no, but that's exactly what they're voting to ask Representative Stotts to stop.
Okay, so if I understand, I'm putting a motion on the floor to support this.
I'll second it.
It's been made and seconded. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, ayes have it. Okay.
Okay, the next item is a letter opposing House Bill 563, reallocating state funds. House Bill 593 is up before the Pennsylvania State Legislature. It opposes Amendment A03263. It would permanently take away critical funds from local government as well as redirect funds from the state general fund through a one-time transfer. What the state is looking to do is to take money out of municipal pension aids, volunteer fire relief funds, natural gas impact fees, recycling funds, and the multimodal funds to their general fund. They're looking to raise their own funds to their general fund.
Well, I don't think that's a good idea.
And that's why there's a letter prepared for you in opposition.
Well, I want to share something with the
Yeah.
public on this, on a matter similar to this. For those, some of you know that I had several meetings with Senator McElhaney over the past few years about our roads, condition of our roads. And 2 years ago, they imposed a 50-cent gas tax on the residents of Pennsylvania, state of Pennsylvania, and they promised that they were going to fix the roads with that money when it was collected. What they did with a lot of that money is they funded the state police, and it didn't get used to for the roads like they had originally intended to. So it's it's our duty to pay attention to where they're spending our money when they impose a tax on us, or take money out of funds that's been allocated for certain things. So I support this letter to be sent.
I do too. I mean, I'm looking at things like the Volunteer Fire Relief Fund. I mean, that's the kind of thing we need to, it just can't be pushed off into a general fund.
No.
Don, I think Picado is in favor of us approving this also.
Yeah, we've already submitted to the state.
Okay, so
Okay.
I'm entertaining a motion for approval.
So moved.
Okay, motion's been made by
Second.
Don, second it by Jim. All those signify by saying aye.
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 Ayes have it, okay.
The next item is the 2018 MMO. Every year, the board has to be informed of the minimum municipal obligation when it comes to the pension. This is an estimate that's prepared for you. It's $51,683.
Okay, any concerns, questions regarding that memo, MMO?
No, I trust Sherry did a good job of calculating it.
Okay.
All right.
Looking for, I guess you need a,
I don't need a
You
motion.
don't need a
All I
motion.
need in the minutes is that I presented it to the
Okay.
board.
thank you.
And the last item is a Joint Recreation Commission vacancy. We had a vacancy, that's Jeff Markley. We have a volunteer, Suzanne Clark, who would like to serve.
I would like to speak up for Suzanne and say she's done an excellent job in helping turn around the Holiday House pool. For the last 2 years, she's been the manager of the pool. She has worked there through winters and fall and spring and made a huge change. And I would welcome having her on the board with her ideas and her hands-on approach, because we need people with hands-on. We can't just have people that are voters. I think I would recommend Suzanne.
I think Suzanne has done a great job myself. I'm a little concerned though about having it not as good as manager as you. Can I think about this for a month?
You can, we're working on that.
Okay. Don, you have any thoughts?
Well, I'd suggest that if she's going to be a part of that board, then when it comes time to consider any budget items that relate to her salary, she has to abstain from being involved in that discussion.
Are
Other than
you,
that, yeah, I think Suzanne would bring a lot of contributions to it.
let's clarify that because I might be confused.
Well, there you go.
Are you, if you were appointed to this commission, would you be stepping down from the manager's position?
My intent would be, I would prefer to step down and just be on the pool board. I believe it needs more hands on that pool board. Anyone can manage the pool. I feel like I have a good background telling people how to do it at this point. Then, of course, I would not be funded, I wouldn't be paid to be on the board, obviously.
Right.
Manager, yes, I am paid for the position. But I feel like I would be more help on the board than managing the pool.
We're actually looking for someone else to become the pool manager.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know we've had some real difficult times in the past, and you have done a tremendous job. And I'm not saying one way or another. I would just like to be able to think about this myself personally for another month. But I know we should act on it soon.
Do we have any candidates?
Hold on.
The position needs to be filled.
Yeah.
I really didn't really look to fill a position, but I feel like someone from West Rockhill needs to step up.
Mhm.
That board needs helping hands terribly. It doesn't matter if you have a pool in your backyard or not, just to be on that pool board makes a giant difference
Sure.
to help out of that pool.
I'm willing to donate your time and efforts.
Right, right.
Seldom people have the commitment that you have, Suzanne. I will share that. I have witnessed that, and I appreciate that.
Do we have any candidates?
No, that is the only application.
No, that's the only one at this time.
I'm talking about candidates for the pool manager.
Not at this time, we don't. Not at this time. And I think
I mean, if
that,
someone wants to step up and be on the pool board, that's fine, I'll stay on as manager. But I just feel like we need to get these positions filled. Trust me, I don't want to do both.
have you advertised that?
Yes.
Yeah, that was advertised, okay.
Advertised, yeah.
So can I make a suggestion that we table this until next month and then we act on it? We definitely make a decision next month for sure. And in that meantime, you guys will be looking at the possibility of a manager maybe?
Yeah.
I would agree to that.
Okay,
Yeah, we've kicked some names around already.
Okay.
Yeah.
and you have a meeting next month
First
anyway,
Tuesday of
before we
every
have our
month.
meeting.
First Tuesday of every month at the Sellersville Borough Hall,
Okay.
7
Thank you.
o'clock.
Is there a residency requirement for that position?
West Rockhill Township, yes.
Yes.
You need to be a resident of West Rockhill.
I didn't know if you had to
There's
be
3
a-
members from West Rock Hill and 3 members from
Yes.
Sellersville.
Okay.
Pool manager can be from anywhere.
Okay, that's what I was curious about. Okay, so that
What-
could be,
Pool manager can be from anywhere, yes.
okay.
But the Joint Rec Authority appointee has to be from West Rockhill.
Okay, I think that's important for people to know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, tabling that, do you have anything else?
That's all I have.
Okay. Next on the agenda, old business, anybody have any?
Excuse me.
I move for
Oh,
approval.
I'm sorry,
Uh,
apologize.
Bob Rambo, Simmons Road. Greg, I see that they're staging, TPNL is staging cable and the towers at the old M&M Quarry. Do you know when that work is going to begin, or what the scheduling is for that?
I know that most likely tomorrow or Friday, they'll be bringing a machine. I know that, but I do not know when the work's going to
A
start.
machine to,
Oh, they're bringing in the new,
Fiber?
not the fiber,
Transformer.
the new transformers in.
they're bringing the events, that means they'll be installing then in the near future?
Yes.
And we'll have to go, that sound that was developed before, that, do you remember we reported that?
Yes.
No, I don't
That's
think,
going to occur again.
no, you're not gonna have that sound, that's already done.
Don says you're not gonna have that sound, that's already been done.
This will just be physically mounting them and making up the connections to the buses and so forth, so the foundations and all the wiring and that stuff is done.
Thank you.
That's what PP&L told me, so.
Okay. And no other questions for the manager? Moving forward on to the next item is old business. Do you have any old business? Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I'll entertain a motion to
I'll make a
approve.
motion.
Motion's been made to approve the manager's report as presented.
Second.
Seconded by Don. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, Judy. Moving on to old business.
I have none,
None?
I
Any old
have
business?
no old business.
Okay, any new business?
nope.
No.
No new business. Okay, now I will open up the floor for public comment. If you have public comment, please state your name and address. Yes, ma'am?
Michelle Shetter, 260 Thousand Acre Road.
Yes.
I wanted to talk about the National Quarry. I wanted to tell you guys this. I'm not very good speaking, so I read this is not very good. My family was attracted to West Rockhill Township 12 years ago because of the rural character of the community. The woodland setting, farmland setting, residential setting, open space preservation, historic landmarks, streams of high-quality waters, a good school district, and small-town atmosphere were all enticing. I recall Don Duvall telling me how hard the township worked to preserve the land and promote a safe environment where families can live and grow. You will never see a Walmart in West Rockhill Township, he said. We decided this was the place to raise our family, and we settled in a residential conservation area. Now the quarry is threatening to invade our RC district. The proposal to rezone lots from residential conservation to extraction so a quarry can expand with the sole purpose to benefit financially contradicts all those values for which this township is based on. We, the people of this community, have a constitutional right to clean water. The quarry has already adversely impacted our drinking water, and an expansion will only result in even more impacts than that which we are already subject to. Under Article 1, Section 27 of the Pennsylvania Constitution, we have a right to clean water and air, and according to the Supreme Court, the right delineated in the first clause of Section 27 presumptively is on par with and enforceable to the same extent as any other right reserved to the people in Article 1. That includes the right to life, liberty, property, and the pursuit of happiness. It includes freedom of speech, freedom of religion, the right to trial by jury, and the right to bear arms. We would like to know what our Board of Supervisors will do to protect our constitutional right to clean water. We have demonstrated in the past all of the environmental impacts that have resulted from the quarry operations and the potential environmental impacts that will result if the quarry expands. We are asking the Board of Supervisors to stand up for our families and do the right thing. I am sure Jim Haynes and his group lie awake at night wondering if this expansion is not granted, how it will affect how much money H&K makes. I lie awake at night wondering how this expansion, if approved, will affect my family, my children. My children have been drinking this water for 12 years. Will they develop cancer too, like their mom and their neighbors? I remind the Board of Supervisors that Naisville Materials H&K Group cannot receive the DEP non-coal surface mining permit to permit mining in the proposed expansion area if they do not get West Rockhill Township approval. In the 1992 agreement between West Rockhill Township and Naisville Materials, it is stated, and I quote, "Naisville and the township intend that all the wells located within the protection area shall benefit from the performance of this agreement and shall be considered a third-party beneficiaries of this agreement." However, the majority of the residents surrounding the quarry cannot drink their water as it is either contaminated with arsenic, discolored, turbid, and odorous to the extent that it is undrinkable. Obviously, local residents have not benefited from the 1992 agreement. Now the quarry wishes to expand closer to residential dwellings, which will impact well water supply and quality even more. The township has no right to arrange an agreement with Naisville that will harm its residents. Many residents question the legality of that agreement. The Planning Commission, Tim Ruth of the Planning Commission stated he is concerned about bond assurity for quarry reclamation. This is clearly a solid company financially. Regardless, if this is a concern for the Planning Commission, why would they recommend an expansion that will result in even more land that needs to be reclaimed? Speaking of reclamation, what fill material will actually be used in the process? This will become a medium that will interact with the groundwater that our wells tap into and affect our surface waters. Regardless of the perks that the township may have already received from the H&K Group, they are not obligated to the H&K Group. They're not obligated to them. As elected officials, you are there to represent as people, as you are entrusted to act in our best interests and not the interests of a Goliath mining company. This is about a proposed zoning change so a company can expand and profit. The township is concerned that if they do not grant approval, then the bully H&K Group will take them to court. The township sees this as an opportunity to receive concessions from the H&K Group at the expense of the residents who live near the quarry. I assure you that if we go to court, a judge is not going to be persuaded by perks and concessions. Rather, when confronted with all of the adverse impacts imposed on the families in the community, a ruling in favor of the people will be ascertained. We ask that the Board of Supervisors stand up for the residents of this township and protect our families. And I would like to know, can we count on you to stand up for the families of this township?
Well, from my perspective, no decisions have been made on this yet. Still gathering information and looking at all the facts and analyzing everything that's come forward. We do take your comments and your concerns under advisement. And as you know, these meetings go on. It could go on for a while until we have all the information gathered. But we are going through the process, and we will continue to go through the process as the township has allowed in its ordinances. Any person that applies for a zoning change has the right to go through the process, and that's what we're doing. Okay? Next person that would like to make a public comment.
Tony Boat near Clymer Avenue.
Yes, Tony.
I'd just like to speak a little bit on Maysville.
Would you stand up, Tony, please, so people can hear you?
I'd like to speak a little bit on the Quarry expansion too myself, but I know that they do have the right to state their case basically to you. But on like other projects, like, you know, WB Homes went in, they stated their project, you know, and they basically left.
Mhm.
My question, I have a couple questions, but the first one is that unless I'm missing something, what other piece of information, or what are you waiting back from H&K? That's what I don't really understand.
I don't think they're waiting for anything. I don't know
No,
if they're
that's what
waiting
they
for,
just said.
no, I don't think that's what he said. That's not what I heard him say. If I heard, right now, the application is in front of the planning commission. The planning commission's gonna make a recommendation to the board of supervisors. And I don't think, I've never seen this board act until the planning commission has made a recommendation.
That's what my question is, what more were you
Oh.
waiting for? I guess the planning commission, because Chris already said he was waiting for more concessions, so
Well,
I guess
I
we'll
think-
wait to hear how that.
Well, there was a list of questions that were provided by Mr. Duval that the quarry has to answer. And they have been in the process. I don't know that they've all been taken care of yet. In all fairness, Mr. Duval missed the first three tours and then finally made it to one. So, in all due respect, the process is going through the way it has been intended to.
And then I just want to speak about the pool issue, is that, you know, it doesn't seem right. And the fact is that, you know, as a business standpoint, if I did something for you of that magnitude, what I donated my services to the pool, I was looking for nothing in return, but it was pennies compared to 75,000. I know I know what you said earlier. I just want to make it known that it doesn't appear correct. That's all I'm saying, because it very easily, Mr. Haynes could come and say, listen, you know, I did this for you, I'm looking for this in return. That's the point that I'd like to make, and you don't have to respond to it, it just doesn't appear right.
We would never act that way, okay? You have my word on that.
And I hope that you wouldn't, and I hope that you would vote, you know, for the people. I mean, and I hope that that decision for them paving that wasn't a decision that would persuade your vote, is what I'm saying.
Nothing that's done ever has anything to do with how we vote on plans that come across this table,
Okay,
okay?
okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Michelle, to answer your question, this board, each one of the board members took an oath to uphold the national or the federal Constitution as well as the state Pennsylvania Constitution and live by the rules of the ordinance of this township, to answer that question.
Yes. Name and address, please.
Harry Lowell, 521 Thousand Acre Road. And for the board